Okay. Okay, there we go. I got it fixed. Hopefully. Y'all let me know if it's still too laggy, okay? Okay, well, hey guys, welcome back to today's conversation. It's a big one, maybe the biggest we've had yet, because I'm going to say what most people are too afraid to say. You can't sit down in the middle forever. You can't be neutral. You can't be a political. There comes a moment where you have to pick a side. And here's the deal. If you pick the left, you're choosing weakness. You are choosing, well, you're just choosing to lose. You're choosing the future failure of the government controls everything that you do. And if you pick the right, you're choosing strength. You're choosing freedom, and you're choosing morality. It's not just politics. This is culture. This is morality. This is the future of the country. The left's true motives. They don't have much. But let's just be honest about what the left stands for. They call themselves progressives. But what they really want to say is to progress strength into socialism. Okay? They want you straight into socialism. That's who they are, and they openly say, hey guys, I'm a socialist. That's what they say. Hey, I'm a socialist. The new governor of New York is a self-proclaimed socialist. They call themselves diplomatic. Diplomatic. Look at people like Hassan Piker. He sits in his mansion screaming for hours about how capitalism is evil while making millions off of capitalism. That's hypocrisy at its finest. He's not just fighting for you, he's fighting to keep you angry, keep you poor, and keep you dependent, so you keep watching him. That's just what he does. That's what they all do. Then you've got guys like Parker and Dean, the young left-wing creators who spend time on TikTok crying about how unfair America is. They want to turn young people into victims so they can control them. Victimhood is their power source. And of course, there's the Biden administration, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, people who have proven time and time again they are more interested in ruining the country and dividing the country than uniting it. Inflation is up. The border is a disaster under their administration. The world is laughing at us. And their situation is always the same. More government control, more taxes, more censorship. I hear it all the time. I'm not really political. I'm not on the left or on the right. That might have worked 10 years ago, but today sitting on the fence is just agreeing to get crushed when the fence collapses. You can't say I don't care about politics while your freedoms are being taken. Anybody, one by one. You can't say I'm neutral while the left is working 24/7 to rewrite culture, rewrite history, and tell your kids America is evil. Choosing no side is a choice. And it's a choice for weakness. Eventually, the left will force you to participate in their system. You'll either comply with their rules or be punished. Now let's talk about the other side, the side that actually stands for something. Look at people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk built Turning Point USA from nothing into the biggest youth political movement in history. He's going on college campuses, he's challenging professors, he's diving students, he's giving students permission to think differently than what they've been given for their entire life. As high schools and colleges are just indoctrination factories that they tune your brain to think one way. They don't teach you how to think. They teach you what to think. What Charlie Kirk was doing and what Turning Point USA is doing takes courage. Look at Candace Owens. Now, I may not agree with everything that Candace Owens says, especially after Charlie Kirk gets shot. But she stands for something at least, which is more than you could say about anyone on the left. Look at Candace Owens. She stood up when it's not popular to say, hey, maybe we should think about ourselves for once. Not Israel, not Ukraine, us. She broke away from the narrative, called out the lies, and gave millions of young people permission to be bold and unapologetic. And of course, Donald J. Trump. Like him or not, he changed politics forever. Americans, that we don't have to take what the political elites feeds us. I butchered that line, guys. I'm trying to read off a teleprompter and it's going too fast, and this is the first time I've read off a teleprompter, so I apologize, and this might seem terrible, but let's try to reread this, guys, because I want to get good at reading off a teleprompter. Of course, Donald J. Trump, like him or not, he changed politics forever. He reminded Americans that we don't have to take what the political elites feed us. There we go, got it right this time. We can fight back, we can win, and despite every attack, every smear, every lie, he's still standing, even after getting shot in the head, in the ear. But it's on your ears, on your head. So, the right believes in you, the individual. We believe you should be free to work hard, build something, own something, defend yourself, and speak your mind. The cost of choosing wrong. If you choose the left, here's what you're signing up for. Higher taxes. Less freedom. They want to take away your... They want to take away, like, your most important amendments. Your freedom of speech, your freedom to bear arms. They're taking them away. They're taking them away for a reason. Oh, your freedoms. They're stripping your freedoms away. More government spying. More censorship, a weaker military, open borders. That means inflation. That automatically means prices are inflated. Open borders, endless dependency on the state. You're signing up for a life where the government decides what is right and what is wrong for you. Where you're told what to say, what to think, what to buy, and even the words you can't use. It was 2020, man. 2020 was a time to be alive, for sure. The Biden administration stripped all freedom of speech on social media platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram, Facebook. They told those companies to take down anything that spoke out or stood with MAGA or spoke out against the vaccine. If you think that sounds dramatic, Just look at the last few years. Look at the censorship. Look at how people were fired for refusing to comply. That wasn't a preview. That was the game plan. Pick your side. So here's the bottom line. You can't stay in the middle. You're going to have to choose a side. I'm not telling you right now one side is fighting for your future and the other is fighting to control you. You can choose when the time is right, but you have to choose. I'm tired of talking to people and saying I'm on the fence about this, about that. No, it's left or right. I'm sorry. It's going to be left or right. That is how they divide us, but it's the truth. It's the ugly truth, but it's the truth. Choosing the right isn't about voting Republican. It's about living with strength, living with a moral clarity, and refusing to bow to a system that wants to make you weak. Start small. Start small. Speak up in class. Post what you believe on Instagram and Facebook. Support creators who are fighting for the truth. Go to events like Turning Point USA America Fest. Listen to shows like Candace Owens or Tim Pool. Read books that challenge the narrative. Because the left is organized. They are loud. They are relentless. And if we don't get as loud as they are, if we don't stand up just as strong, they will win by default. They will. They will win by default. So my challenge to you is simple. Pick a side. If you're still unsure, ask yourself, do I want to be free? Do I want to live in a country where I decide my future? Or do I want to hand the future over to the bureaucrats, the activists, and so-called experts who think they know better than everyone else? This isn't just politics. This is about the kind of country you want to raise a family in, the kind of country you want to grow old in. Stop sitting on the fence. Stop waiting for someone else to speak up. The time to choose is now. So that was the first time I've ever used a teleprompter. I know I could have done better, but yeah. So I wrote that speech because of a conversation I had today with a young man, and I realized that there are just so many people still on the fence. And I don't understand it. I don't know if I understand it because I'm MAGA. I mean, gosh, I have the Trump shoes and I have American Eagle. I have American flag. You know I'm MAGA when there's American flag. I don't know if that's the reason why I have such strong beliefs, or if it's just because I guess what I'm trying to say is that the kids who are growing up isolated and in school who are being lied to continuously, well, they need to learn how to speak up. I've been thinking about streaming on Rumble, guys. Rumble, because I can say pretty much anything I want. What do y'all think about me streaming on Rumble? Do y'all think it's a good idea, a bad idea? Do y'all think I should just keep on streaming long form, short form? What do y'all think I should do? We're going to dive into some more stuff. We're going to dive in. Yeah, Dev TV, bro, you're great. I love you, bro. Then leave if you don't like him. That's great. We're going to watch this one thing while I get this set up. I want to know if I should start streaming somewhere else. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to put this on, and I will be right back.
I'm sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. I'm sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up. Slice them and fucking dice them. What the fuck is this? Letting their intestines just ride on stage. Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott.
All right, but I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. That's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's, office, and he's resigning. Like, this is his last term. You actually wrote about this, and it was a great video where you talked about, someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. Which is, I think that shows that there is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential, as a matter of fact.
Not a gamer himself, Clancy mostly watches musicians or talk shows on Twitch. He particularly enjoys leftist political commentator Hassan Piker, who has 2.5 million followers on the platform. I like the frankness and the bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes.
Someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's hard to believe that he was not banned on Twitch. And it's because, y'all saw the freaking Twitch CEO said, oh, he's my favorite creator. So they didn't freaking ban him. Oh, my Lord. Again, guys, we are going to be reading off a teleprompter once again. Please be a little bit nice, okay? This is my second time, but first time today. Today's the first time reading off a teleprompter. So please be nice. I don't really care. I'm going to have my haters. I'm going to have the people who threaten to kill me. But I won't change because that's who I am. But I will learn how to do better. Okay. the Hassan Piker is an interesting figure, and we're going to get back to him in a few minutes. And today's going to be heavy. If you've been sitting on the sidelines hoping politics will just sort itself out, well, I got something to tell you. I'm here to tell you that time is over. You have to pick a side. It's not about being Republican or Democrat anymore. It's about freedom versus control, strength versus weakness, and morality versus chaos. And I'll be blunt. You have to pick left or right. Didn't we already go through this? Hold up. Hassan Piker. Okay, no. We haven't gone through this. I was about to say I thought we went through this, but we didn't. Okay, guys. And you have to pick a side. It's not about being Republican or Democrat anymore. It's about freedom versus control, strength versus weakness, morality versus chaos. And I'll be blunt. You have to pick a side. Are you choosing weakness or are you choosing strength? Are you choosing a future where the government decides what you can say and what you can buy and what you can teach your kids and even the medicine you can take? Let's start with the headlines. Trump, Tylenol, and autism. Everyone's talking about it. Donald Trump came out recently saying that Big Pharma, calling out the fact that we've been lied to for years about what is safe and what isn't. He made headlines saying Tylenol may be linked to some higher autism risks. And suddenly the media lost their minds. Now I'm not here to debate the science. I'm here to point out the reaction. The left's reaction wasn't, hey, maybe we should look into this and see if it's true. No, instantly shut it. It was not instantly shut it down, label it misinformation, and tell you to stop asking questions. The difference between the left and the right: the left believes you're too dumb to think for yourself. The right says ask the hard questions, demand answers, and hold power accountable. For there are, let me see if I can find this video. There are hundreds of videos of women taking Tylenol on purpose and saying, F you, Trump. Let's see if we can find this. Women taking Tylenol. Never thought I would have to look that up. That's just because times are so freaking crazy, bro. Imagine purposely giving your kids autism. It's insane. Oh, my Lord. In spite of Trump. Let's see if we can find these videos. There are a lot. There's a lot of these guys saying this crap. Okay, let's see if we can find. It's sad. I mean, they're killing their baby. There have been women. There's been women going to hospitals and killing their baby. Like it's just crazy. So I haven't been able to find a video. I found a reaction video. Let's see if let's look into this a little bit. Let's look into this a little
28
bit.
weeks pregnant.
Okay. Let's go to the react. Thank you. Let's see here.
You know what I'm gonna take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's gonna work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
Bro.
How's everybody doing? My name is
Let's
Anthony.
see if we can find this. Let's see. Here we go.
On News Nation. And then let's see some of this. There's even more videos of these women
There's so
pregnant,
many. There's so many.
taking Tylenol for no reason other than to spite Trump. You got to be a really silly person to potentially harm your own baby just to make a political statement. Okay, I mean, this is really crazy. And of course, you're
women on the internet bragging about taking Tylenol. You can see her there. Multiple bottles. There are a lot of these videos. She is not alone. We could show them to you for the next 25 minutes till the show was over. Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University School.
Hold up. Let me see if I can find a better video, guys. Let me see if I can find like an actual compilation of all these women taking Tylenol. It's insane. It's crazy. Compilation of women taking Tylenol. It's just a crazy thing to look up. It's absolutely insane. Let's see if I can find one. Compilation of women taking Tylenol. Let's see here. Now that was on Facebook. I mean, there are like there's a lot of them. It's just a matter of finding an actual compilation video. Oh, you know what? We'll go to X, guys. That's what we'll do. We'll go to X. Twitter, some may call it. I don't know. I grew up knowing about it as X. I still say tweet, but I call it X at least. Let's see here. Paste. Let's see if we can find this on X. Oh my gosh, there's so many. We found them all, guys. That's the good news. We found them all. Okay. Let's go to React.
This doesn't count. Oh,
here we go. Let's move this down a little bit, yeah?
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm gonna take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's gonna work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
How crazy, guys? How crazy is that?
28 weeks pregnant.
Oh my goodness. That's insane. And there's just so many videos just like this. Just like this. Let's see if we can find another one. We already watched her. Let's see. Okay. That
I got a call, a very frantic call at 4 o'clock in the morning from a husband whose wife is now dying of liver failure on a ventilator in an ICU because she was trying to prove that Tylenol doesn't cause autism because
I saw this coming. I think we all saw this coming. I cannot wrap my head around why these people think it's a good idea to start chugging this stuff to prove a freaking point.
she's somewhere between 23 to 25 weeks and she's on Tylenol. And she's going to die. She's not going to come off that ventilator.
This mother and her unborn child are now not going to make it
okay. We don't have to.
because of Tylenol.
Guys, we don't have to watch that entire video. There are women overdosing on Tylenol to prove a point to Trump. It's crazy. I'm probably redlining a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. You shouldn't take any medicine like that. It says on the label. Let's see if we can get a picture of this Tylenol label. Tylenol label. Yep, there we go. Let's see if we can get a picture of this freaking Tylenol label where it says not to consume if pregnant. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. We're going to have to open that up big. We'll move React back. There we go. Let's see here. It says it like right over here somewhere, I think. Where does it say it? Do not use. Warnings, rash. It says it somewhere. I was looking at it just today. I was looking at it. I was just looking at this earlier today. Can't find it now. But it's on there. I mean, it's on there somewhere. I'm not seeing it right now. Let's see if we can find a different picture of the label, maybe. Here we go. Active ingredients. Kind of have to look upside down, but let's see here. Well, I may be wrong. I thought it said it. Maybe I'm just missing it. I know that they tweeted about it, though. They tweeted... Yeah, hold up. Tylenol X tweets. Let's see here. Ha! Yeah, look at this, guys. Okay. This was Tylenol tweeting. Tylenol tweeted this themselves. Tylenol, the Tylenol company, tweeted this themselves. Let's see. There we go. Don't want to dox me. There we go. Here we go. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you heard it here, folks. You heard it here. Tylenol themselves says don't take if pregnant, yet women are taking Tylenol like crazy. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm sorry, guys. That was that was a long. Now we're going to talk about Hassan Piker. Now let's talk about someone who scares me more than most politicians, Hassan Piker. Hassan is smart. He's charismatic, and he's openly calling for socialist policies to dominate America's future. This is dangerous because young people are listening. They think socialism is fair and kind, but socialism is a road to control. Hassan lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion while telling you capitalism is evil. He streams for hours every day, laughing, mocking everyone who doesn't agree with him. He is literally a hypocrite while he is a capitalist, convincing millions of viewers that America is fundamentally broken. And here's the scary part. He's good at it. If we don't step up, he and the people like him are going to own the next generation of voters. That is why we need more people like Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, and Turning Point USA going to college campuses and showing students that they don't have to buy into this victimhood mentality. We can't ignore the chaos that's happening in America right now. Look at ICE. Shootings this week, a government facility was attacked, an act of domestic terrorism. And what did the media do? They barely covered it. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if someone attacked a planted parenthood, whatever it's called, a parenthood clinic, planted. Oh my goodness, Planned Parenthood clinic. There we go. The media would talk about it for weeks. This is a double standard we're living in. The left only cares about violence when it fits their narrative, when it's their side. But when it's their side committing it, they call it a protest. When the right protests, they call it violence. You can't stay neutral when one side is literally executing violence and silencing individuals. I know some of you are watching this and thinking, I'm not really political. I don't want to choose a side. Well, let me be real with you. You already have. Neutrality isn't neutral anymore. Neutrality is silent compliance. The left is pushing their agenda 24/7 in schools, Hollywood, TikTok, colleges, and on Instagram, Facebook, and the news. Everywhere. Everywhere. If you don't agree, if you don't actively push back, you're just going to let them win. That's it. You can't just sit down. You either have to defend your freedom or you lose it. Let's focus on the positive for a second. What do you actually stand for on the right? What does the right actually stand for? We stand for freedom. The right believes in you and the individual. We believe in protecting freedom of speech. The right is the right to bear arms, the right to protect your family, the right to question authority without being censored. People like Charlie Kirk built entire movements empowering students to fight back against liberal professors. Candace Owens stood up when the whole world was screaming at her to sit down. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, reminded America that if we don't have to take what we're given by the elites, we fight back. We can make America strong again. Choose the cost of choosing wrong. But here's the reality. If you don't pick, if you pick the wrong side, you're not voting for policies, you're voting for where the future goes. Taxes go up while your paycheck goes down. The border stays wide open. Our kids are indoctrinated. Our country becomes weaker on the world stage, and by the time you realize by the time you realize it was a mistake, it'll be too late. So here's the challenge. Pick a side. Not next year, not in 2028, right now. If you're sick of censorship, sick of inflation, sick of chaos, and speak up. Get involved. Go to Turning Point events. Post your opinions. Have these uncomfortable conversations with friends and family, because one side wants to see America strong and free, and the other wants to see it weak and dependent. Look, the left is organized. They just are. They are relentless. And if you don't match that energy, we're going to lose. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's easier to stay quiet, but freedom isn't won by staying quiet. So I'm asking you, not as a Republican or a Democrat, but as an American, pick a side. Choose strength. Choose freedom. Choose the future you want to live in. Because if you don't, the other side will gladly choose for you. Bro, that comment is hilarious. I got bitten by an autistic person. I have nightmares about trains. That's funny. That's funny. That was pretty funny. Let's Candace Owens has a new video. Y'all want to watch it? Y'all want to watch the new video? The new conspiracy video, guys? Let's watch the new conspiracy video. Bro, I was kind of on her side for a while, but some of the stuff she's saying, it just isn't adding up anymore. It's just not. Okay, let's watch this new Candace Owens video. She's making millions off of Charlie Kirk's death. Imagine making millions off of an innocent man's death. Hey.
Go and say that, oh, then why was the meeting?
Here we go. Why is this not starting?
All right, you guys. So a week before Charlie lost his life, he expressed some concerns about the finances at Turning Point USA. In fact, he wanted to put together an entire department, a little mini department, to address those concerns, and we have evidence of that. It is always the advice when investigating any crime to, quote unquote, follow the money. So let's do that just a little bit here. Plus, there is a video that has gone absolutely viral. I am sure you have seen it. It was emailed to me many times, where there is a theory that is being floated that Charlie was shot from the back. Now, there are two aspects in that video that we can debunk, and I want to do that. And there's one aspect that we cannot debunk clearly. I think this is a worldwide investigation, so I want to assist wherever it is that I can. So welcome back to Candace.
Who's Hassan? Yeah, you want to see Hassan? I'll show you.
There's
Hassan.
a lot of...
Hassan is a... I can't say that. Hassan is a terrible, terrible man with Hassan is like one of the worst of us. He's like devil incarnate. Okay, let's see if we can find this video again. Let's go to history. Hassan is devil incarnate. Let's watch this video again, guys. This terrible video of Hassan.
I'm sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up. Slice them and fucking dice them. What the fuck is this? Letting their intestines just ride on stage.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott.
Alright, but I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. Like, that's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's, this dude's office, and he's resigning. Like, he's literally, this is his last term. You actually wrote about this, and it was a great video where you talked about, someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. Which is, I think that shows that there is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential, as a matter of fact.
Not a gamer himself, Clancy mostly watches musicians or talk shows on Twitch. He particularly enjoys leftist political commentator Hassan Piker, who has 2.5 million followers on the platform. I like the frankness and the bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes.
Someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean.
That's who Hassan Piker is. But back to Candace Owens. Hassan Piker is a terrible, terrible individual. I mean, just the worst of humanity. Just absolutely.
Of leaking going on right now, and I've been very clear that everything in my soul has been screaming at me from the very moment that I found out that Charlie got shot, that this story is much bigger, that there just was something much bigger going on than what has thus far been presented to the public. You know, all of the wrong people are eulogizing him. They're lying about small things, which I don't like, because why lie about small things? Only a guilty conscience of sorts lies about little things. And there are a few points that we have covered throughout the story that right away jumped out at me as odd. First and foremost, of course, Bibi Netanyahu over-inserting himself, not even just on day one, minute one. He tweeted before the president of the United States that Charlie had lost his life. That's weird. That is very weird, and we should not forget how weird that is, especially because when he went on multiple hits, doing Fox News and Greta Van Sustern's show, he lied about the contents of a letter that Charlie Kirk had written him back in May. What I also don't like are the people like Josh Hammer and Seth Dillon, people that I know who are very nasty and work behind the scenes. I don't like that they have not yet been honest or forthcoming about the pressure that they and others were putting on Charlie Kirk. That just strikes me as odd. There's no reason to lie. No reason to pretend that you weren't doing that, to try to massage it and lie about it. I believe that there are lies by omission, and I view them both to be liars, okay? And of course, who could forget the word length of Bill Ackman's reply? I tell you guys about this weekend in the Hamptons. I tell you about Bibi Netanyahu calling Charlie Kirk and inviting him to Israel. And Bill Ackman replied.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the things that I don't. I'm gonna start with the things I agree with her on before we actually dive into the rest of this video, and then I'll go to the things I actually don't agree on or I don't trust about her. Now, going to some things that I agree on, I think a lot of things are very weird. Campus security should have 1080, if not 4K resolution on the cameras. Campus security, I mean, that's just all campuses, period, should have that. Second thing that was very interesting, the whole stiff leg argument, but we can see him walking up the steps. That was another weird thing. We can see both legs bending. That part's weird too. Now the part that he took apart the gun on the roof, left a screwdriver, but yet they found the gun fully put together in the woods. That's also really weird. But she says, "Oh, I have all these connections to these people, and they're you just have to trust me. They're saying this. They don't want to come out and say it themselves. So I'm telling you, and I'm the only one who's seen this footage, and I'm the only one who's I'm the only one who can see this footage. They won't let anyone else talk, and they're scared for their lives, and they don't want to come out and talk. Like she's a great storyteller, and it makes sense when you don't think about it too hard. But when you start thinking about it, it doesn't make sense. Because she's saying, hey guys, trust me, I'm the only one who knows this information. No one else is coming out and saying this. His wife is perfectly fine with how things are right now. But just trust me. So that's what I find hard to believe with her. It's like, just trust me, bro. Just trust me. Bro, just trust me.
With an essay, college essay, 959 words to be precise, was his response to me speaking about that, where he himself did not actually address my point about the quote-unquote intervention, which is how Charlie described it himself, and my point about Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay, I see this talk about going on about Palestine. I'm not even going to get into that right now.
And the offer to take Turning Point to the next level financially. No one wants to address those points because I was being honest. People thought that Charlie's ideas were trending in the wrong direction. And by the way, regarding that now infamous weekend, the response videos that were made, which seemed like there was some sort of a PR crisis going on, the response tweets that were fashioned, they were sort of getting funny. Xavier DeRusso was there. I had reached out to him. He had, rather than answering me, messaged me to say, I am speaking out about that weekend. He made a video where he formally addressed the weekend and explained that, yes, Charlie, and he uses the phrase moral blackmail. Charlie spoke about feeling morally blackmailed, but this was done in more of a workshop setting, essentially like it was a debate club, and they were strengthening their debates on the topic of Israel. We can take a listen to Xavier DeRusso in his own words.
And then people are taking things out of context, because there was in the article, the hit piece that came out, it talks about how Charlie raised up his phone and had written on Twitter, and he said something like, Bibi needs to resign or something like that. And he goes, what would happen if I do this? There was discourse, and then there was one woman who sat in the back who said, if you do that, you're indirectly going to empower Hamas. And then Charlie was like, see, you have to stop saying like that. He was saying that when you are debating about Israel, you need to stop doing it emotionally. You need to do it logically and factually. Otherwise, you lose the debate. He said it is moral blackmail if you say that somebody saying that a politician is bad, that you're then empowering a terrorist organization. Fair argument.
It was a fair argument, but it also was a real argument. And you kind of removed the names that were involved in this conversation. Natasha Hausdorff was there. Seth Dillon was there. And Seth Dillon was the one that was applying pressure to him. And Seth Dillon and Josh Hammer didn't jump on him in that moment. Were not happy. They were not happy with Charlie at the end of this weekend in the Hamptons because, again, they saw which way the wind was traveling in terms of his positions on Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. And they were, in fact, being accusatory. And again, you don't have to take it in my words or Xavier's words. I've always had a friendly relationship with Xavier, but we should listen to Charlie's own words, which we have played multiple times, of what happened the day after this little weekend retreat, where he vented to Megyn Kelly his frustrations with him being wrongly labeled anti-Semitic and how it was actually pushing him away and it wasn't good for Israel. Then, in that one of the big questions that we discovered, or that we asked, and something that we had discovered, was that this weekend was kept hush-hush, which is extraordinarily unusual for a Turning Point event. If you're going to fly your influencers out, you want them to influence, obviously. And Xavier offered this explanation for why they didn't post about the weekend until they were rumbled about the weekend. Take a listen.
And then you have the people who are trying to go and say that, oh, then why was the meeting so secretive? The photos were already on my Instagram. The reason we didn't post that in the real time was because of safety. Do you know how many people would have loved to come and slaughter that whole hotel?
Feeling like Justin Bieber because it's not clocking for me. I'm sorry. So first off, you guys never connected to Turning Point USA publicly. The photos that you posted, if you posted it after the event, I don't think that it's because you were fearful that just being a conservative in the Hamptons was going to get you slaughtered, like were there Hamas tunnels under the Hamptons? That doesn't make sense. That makes entirely no sense. And we should call out how little sense that makes, especially because one of the influencers did post on August 6th that she was in the Hamptons. Actually, Emily loves America. Emily saves America, pardon me, said when she was fighting with somebody about how little their engagement ring was during this weekend, how do you guys expect to have a house, land, and multiple kids? Be for real. Sorry, I'm MIA. I'm in the Hamptons. So are conservatives not allowed to be in the Hamptons without getting slaughtered? Or is it specifically conservative influencers? You said that it wasn't a pro-Israel event, so I guess there's no Israel angle here, which does, of course, there's tons of Zionists in the Hamptons, Bill Ackman among them. So I don't understand. You couldn't post that you were in the Hamptons because you were going to get killed. How? I need more information there because that's just silly. And I also love the context of him doing this on PragerU's platform. I obviously worked for PragerU. I know Marissa Straight. I am looking at Marissa Straight right there, a little PR operation to address the points without actually addressing the points and to make it seem like it was nothing. And that's not the reality. You know, Marissa has always been open about the fact that she worked for the IDF intelligence. And like I said, you could sense there was a PR panic when people started speaking about the weekend. I told you guys the truth. That's it. Okay. I don't like the fact that Charlie was literally facing financial threats over his speech, the thing that mattered most to him. Right? Fighting for free speech, even if you disagreed with somebody, you got to
see. She's a really good storyteller. She's a really good storyteller.
Make sure that they have a right to express their viewpoints. And what happened to me a year earlier seemed to be happening to him 1 year later. Another thing that I really do not like, and it is bothering me and is eating at me, is the fact that Turning Point will not release the footage. Okay. I don't understand it. Every excuse that I have been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it? Think about that. It's just in your own capacity. If somebody is saying you are guilty of anything, if they're like, Candace, you are absolutely guilty of breaking into my car, and I'm like, I have a camera right here that shows that I did not break into your car. Would it make sense if I was like, but I'm not going to release that? I'm not going to release that. Because it's not right. It's not right for me to release. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would not release this. The idea that it's because, well, the feds are saying the feds cannot arrest you. Last I checked, the feds cannot bring charges against you for releasing footage that you own. And since when do we trust the feds? Certainly Charlie didn't. He didn't believe we were getting the truth about the Epstein files and things of that nature. So I don't accept that. That said, I also want to be clear that it doesn't mean that every single person that is continuing on in the organization is guilty of murder. I mean, I think we want answers, but we shouldn't be like, this person's definitely a murderer because they're not providing the answers. I've been speaking and I've been seeing a lot of vitriol that's been thrown at Andrew Colvette's way because he is doing press. He is carrying on Charlie Kirk's show. He was already seated on Charlie Kirk's show. He was already there. And I was being genuine when I said he's under a lot of pressure. There's no question. He's the spokesperson for Turning Point USA, and he's grieving somebody that he knows and who was a very close, if not one of his best friends. He saw every day doing the Charlie Kirk show, and he's still got to deal with the same donors that Charlie was dealing with. I mean, it's a lot going on, And until we have all the facts in front of us, until we actually see the footage, I think we should be careful in just thinking that everybody is guilty of something. I want you guys to also, though, be conscious of the lies that we are being told by the federal government, because that feels extremely guilty to me. We haven't received any updates whatsoever on the raid that took place of Lance's house where Tyler Robinson was living at the time of this crime. No update whatsoever on Lance. He just completely fell to the wayside. So forget it. Forget asking any questions about Lance. And my instinct has always been that the feds injected themselves immediately into this case because they were staging a cover-up. And now I feel as though we can almost establish that as a fact when I tell you something else that happened here, my next point. So as you know, I have been positively obsessed with who killed Charlie Kirk because he was my friend. He was actually my friend. Everyone else who can eulogize all they want. Some of it felt a little cheap and fake and gay. But for me, this is real. So I had been hunting down all of the videos, all of the footage, and wanted to go back to ground zero, as we did yesterday, of the initial videos that went viral on social media and on X on the day that Charlie was assassinated. And it occurred to me that I forgot about one video. Actually, the only video that exists of the shooter sprinting across the rooftop a mere seconds after the shot was fired. Now, you probably recall that video in the back of your mind. You remember that video that was going viral of him seen running across the roof. Well, I'm about to show it to you in a much clearer quality than you have ever seen it, a higher quality than you have ever seen that video. Remember, before I show it to you, just to tee this up, it is just a couple of seconds after the sound of a shot rang out. Let's watch this together. And we're going to just cover that. It kind of looks like he's got something trailing behind him too. Maybe that's the towel that we've been told about. We can play that again as you watch this. Now let me tell you how I tracked down this footage. It took me all of 2 hours to track down this footage, to get the name of the person who had filmed the footage. And from there, after messaging someone on Twitter, they said, I got the footage from this person. This is the person that shot it. And he's willing to speak to you. I get in touch with this individual. Okay. Very quickly. It was all transpired in a couple of hours. And you will never guess what it is that he told me. He told me that neither the feds nor the local police had ever reached out to him. Never. I'm sorry, what? You have...
See, this is what I mean. It's like trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. I promise. I'm not lying. But, he won't talk to you. He'll only talk to me. Trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me.
One of two people who have a recording of the shooter at all, right? At all. And the feds were simply not interested, as they were executing this manhunt, of reaching out to the individual who had footage of him running across the roof. How could that be? Why? Why would that be? Somebody explain to me, make it make sense for me. Maybe in the fog and the chaos, sure. But at no point did they go, hey, I see this really grainy image that's gone viral on Twitter. Maybe I should reach out to the person that made it go viral and see if I can track down that person so I can get clear data, meaning the metadata that exists, which will tell you the exact second that the person was running, to make sure it lines up with my federal timeline that I must be creating. If little old Candace is doing it, then I'm sure the feds at the top are definitely creating a second-by-second timeline just like I am. But no, they never reached out to him. Now I'll tell you what else I discovered, because A lot is going on. And we similarly, by the way, reached out to the person who shot the footage and said somebody is on the roof. We spoke about that earlier this week. He told us the exact same thing. He says he walked in and gave the footage to the Orem Police Department, okay? Nobody, and they said, we were overwhelmed on that day one, which makes sense. Everybody contacting, calling, someone says, I have this. So it makes sense that he would be on the offense and getting them the footage. But the feds never reached out to him until the 15th. After Governor Cox said the investigation was over and they had the guy, the feds reached out to him and said, hey, you're the one who shot that footage. Yeah. Did you make a police report? He said, yeah, I did. And, oh, really? We didn't know that. What do you mean you didn't know that? That this is the first time the federal government on the 15th decided to reach out to the other person who saw the person climbing the roof? I saw the person getting into the shooting position. You never reached out to him until September 15th? Yeah, my friends. That looks to me like a cover-up. Not like you're trying to get to the bottom of something. Not with the amount of money that the feds have. You can't tell me that they did not reach out to these two individuals. It makes entirely no sense. There's another piece of this that is getting quite interesting, and I will say that this next piece that I have is in large part thanks to a multitude of leaks that are coming out of Turning Point US.
Hey guys, I just want to say, members, I now have memberships on my channel. If y'all want to support what we do here, I think the lowest membership is $2.99 a month. Or you can do like super chats. You can donate. All money is going to help us to go to America Fest this year. That's what all the money is going to. We're trying to raise $5,000. So anything helps. $5,000 to go to America Fest, because right now I live in Florida, so I have to pay for me and a videographer to fly down, stay for about 5 nights. We have to rent a car. We have to make sure we have enough in the budget for food and any other expenses we want to do, anything like that. So, yeah. So you can donate. You can become a member. All money made on the channel this month goes to Charlie's family and or TPUSA. But starting next month, we are raising money for America Fest.
Now, right away, you might ask, why is that happening? Well, I can tell you in my experience, political organizations sometimes don't recognize that they are not like corporate organizations. And what I mean by that is not whether or not the organization is a corporate, but rather sometimes they get the wrong idea that they can sort of do things that people can do on Wall Street, right? Like if a CEO steps down from Wendy's, you can just replace that person as another CEO and nobody cares. If you're buying chicken nuggets from Wendy's, you don't really care who the CEO is. Doesn't really work like that with political organizations, right? When it comes to politics, people get behind someone because they believe in that individual's ideas, right? You can't just play a swapsy all the time or think it's just going to go on and you're still going to have that same energy behind you. And so obviously this is a terrible situation and Charlie is gone, but with people not getting answers.
Also super chats and stuff like that. Yeah, that's available as well.
Right? With people that are working at Turning Point USA not feeling like, okay, are we as an organization fighting? Are we going to speak about the things that Charlie cared about? Are we going to call out the things that we feel are wrong here? They're not wanting to get behind that. They feel that the organization is now being motivated just by money and that this company's priorities have somewhat shifted and that really how people on the outside that are looking in are going, what's going on here? Why are people not more rattled by the lies that are being told? Actually, I think if Charlie were here, he'd be talking about the weird things that were being told about this story, right? Ironically. And so many people have reached out and they spoke about the finances at Turning Point USA. And, I'm not exactly a forensic accountant, but I know that other people, other journalists got really interested in this angle who were similarly receiving leaks and have pushed this off to forensic accountants. And some of the stuff is getting very interesting. But I did want to show you guys this because I think this proves what we have been hearing. It's at least a starting point. An insider who said that they were there and present when Charlie had expressed some concerns about where the money was going. And leading up to that moment, Charlie had by and large completely removed himself outside of the organ of fundraising, which is to say that it wasn't something that he necessarily had his finger on. Of course, he always would show up for top donor meetings. He is the face of the company. But in terms of the accounting specifics, he trusted his lieutenants. Of course, something that big, you're clearing $100 million a year, you got to have lieutenants and you have to trust those lieutenants. And of course, sometimes those leaders don't like one another. That's all normal. But then there arrived a moment when Charlie felt that the money was disappearing. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly here, but I think we have some proof that shows that. And the excuses that he was being given for
this is another example of, trust me, bro, I promise I'm telling the truth. Trust me. I love Candace Owens. She's a great storyteller. But you can't just say, trust me, bro. You have to show the evidence. You have to show the proof. You just have to. I mean, that's just what you got to do.
Money disappearing.
She's making millions. Millions.
Wasn't adding up for Charlie. Said another way, the math wasn't mathing, okay? He felt that, again, according to sources, that the company was burning through cash too quickly. And Charlie set about finding out why and how this was happening. So on September 2nd, which is, of course, just 1 week before he lost his life, Charlie surprised the company by announcing that he was putting together a Doge department. Yes, a department of government efficiency like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy had set out to do. Trump won. They got behind him, right? They said, hey, there's a lot of pork. We don't know where this money is going. People are just accepting checks. Again, this is the whole purpose of the Department of Doge. You put us in there, and we're going to figure out how all these bureaucrats are just wasting tax dollars. Really kind of a nice way of saying we're going to conduct an audit of the government, right? That's the only way to look at what Doge was. It's an audit, and then you cut the fat, and you see where the money's actually going. Don't listen to me, by the way, because we can read Charlie in his own words. This was a internal memo that went out, signed off by Charlie on September 2nd. I'm going to skip to the relevant portions. He's first and foremost announcing that Dear Team America, effective immediately, again, September 2nd, Justin Strife is taking on a new elevated role with Turning Point USA as its COO. Since joining TPUSA in 2020, Justin has led Turning Point's fundraising division and in more recent years has been involved in some organizational operations, filling the COO role in many ways, but now officially taking on the title and expanded responsibilities. Now we're going to jump to that last big paragraph. He writes, in this role, I have empowered Justin, among other priorities, to engage in an organizational-wide Doge effort. Justin will be assembling a small team to assist in this effort, which is focused on Turning Point USA, 1, becoming more efficient, 2, becoming more cost-effective, 3, unifying organizational success around company-wide metrics and goals, and 4, reshaping company culture. I expect many positive changes to come from this forthcoming initiative and Justin's expanded role. Please join me in congratulating Justin on this new role with the organization. So I felt that with all of the rumors that I am hearing, to see that Charlie was essentially putting together a small team to begin looking at money and ways to be more quote unquote efficient, it's looking like that's relevant, that all of these tips that we are receiving from insiders is accurate. And what we're understanding is that there were a lot of contractors and people essentially who were taking money both ways, who were bringing in money and cutting deals. Said simply, the money was looking funny, okay? And Charlie set out to determine why, which means that others should maybe set out to determine why. Is this department still going? And like I said to you, others are setting out to determine why. There are journalists, forensic accountants that have been hired. They're not necessarily getting everything right. I can't stop reading conspiracies about me and my husband. I've read that my husband is Jewish. I've read that my husband is a Freemason. I read that our marriage is fake and staged. And I've read that I'm funded by Russia. I'm funded by Qatar. I'm funded by Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate is also from the UK. And my husband knew him before he met me, which means absolutely nothing. I mean, it never stops. And to be thrown into fame, I think, is very difficult when you're not pursuing it yourself, and to be thrown in such a horrific way, it just can't be fun. So I'm just reminding us all to just have a little bit of grace. is all. Anyways, you guys, before I get into more of your comments, I want to tell you about Just Thrive, because the biggest health secret that is not talked about is checkout. All right, you guys, what is on your mind? Let me get to your comments, what you guys are thinking about. Kelly Martini writes, Candace, you are the epitome of truth.
Pretty much all we need from her.
The epitome.
Now, there's this guy. Oh, someone said that Charlie didn't make it to heaven. Yeah, right. That's facts. Yo, that's facts. Now there is this video by this guy named Ruslan KD that I am going to check out with y'all. Y'all, who is Nick? Who is this Nick that y'all are talking about? I have no idea who Nick is. Let's see if we can find this video by Ruslan KD. Here we go. Found it.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
The Candace Owens conspiracies are getting worse.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
The Candace Owens conspiracies are getting worse and worse, and no, that is not hyperbole. If you haven't been keeping up, we've been covering Candace's devolving views on the terrible and tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. But this week, she has taken it to another level. Her latest theory is actually taken right out of a gangster rap beef in the 1990s, when the tragic assassination of Tupac Shakur was instantly pinned on his own best friend, Suge Knight, who was driving the car. Yes, that's right. It appears that Candace Owens is now alluding that Turning Point USA, the organization that Charlie Kirk founded, is potentially behind his actual assassination. So it's not just a multinational and federal conspiracy. Turning Point and Charlie's own best friends are now in on it. Don't believe me? Take a look.
The fact that Turning Point will not release the footage, okay? I don't understand it. Every excuse that I have been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards, that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it?
You see, she weaved all this together because there was footage of the Turning Point staff taking the memory cards out of the camera that was behind Charlie Kirk. Footage that she claims she got to see over FaceTime that wasn't gruesome, wasn't bloody, and that she believes absolutely needs to be released for the entire public to see. As if the public has not already been traumatized by all this. But it doesn't just end there. She says she can't comprehend why they wouldn't release footage of their founder getting assassinated in a close-up shot. But it's her latest theory that is absolutely bonkers that we're going to get into in a moment. And some of the pushback I've been getting from folks on the internet because I made a case that Candace Owens clearly lied to you guys. Now, the response to this really takes the cake. So let's get back to this latest accusation regarding what she thinks Turning Point must do to appease her and her gut instincts.
Somebody is saying you are guilty of anything. If they're like, Candace, you are absolutely guilty of breaking into my car. And I'm like, I have a camera right here that shows that I did not break into your car. Would it make sense if I was like, but I'm not going to release that. I'm not going to release that. Because it's not right. It's not right for me to release. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would not release this. The idea that it's because, well, the feds are saying the feds cannot arrest you. Last I checked, the feds cannot bring charges against you for releasing footage that you own. And since when do we trust the feds? Certainly Charlie didn't. He didn't believe we were getting the truth about the Epstein files and things of that nature. So I don't accept that.
So let me do my best to try to help Candace and all of her fans. God forbid something were to ever happen to your spouse and your best friend, Candace, and God forbid that the entire world witnessed it in 4K, live on the internet. And God forbid you had additional footage and people who were friendly or fans of your husband decided to just start asking questions on why you wouldn't release the additional angles of your husband getting brutally assassinated. Why would you need to? You saw what happened. Everyone saw what happened. Now, there's videos coming out about different angles from the shots, and maybe that wasn't the actual shooter from that angle. Listen, all of that could be true and possible, but she can't comprehend why Charlie's closest friends, his teams, his wife, doesn't want to make additional footage public. Footage that she claims she saw over FaceTime, which from her vantage point claims it wasn't that gruesome and that bloody, so you should just release it. I don't think you would want that to be released if that was of your husband, God forbid. So why am I talking about all this? I'm talking about all this because I think this mentality has crept into a lot of the Christian audience online. Candace claiming to be a Christian, my audience being Christian, there being some overlap. I think this is a line in the sand moment. I think we have to draw some boundaries about what we will and won't entertain as followers of Jesus. And I'm a person of truth, and I'm also a person of do unto others the way you would have them do unto you. And Candace can't seem to understand why a grieving widow who is trying to take over and run the organization that her husband founded wouldn't want that footage released. And while a certain pocket of the internet is hyper reacting to pictures like this, alluding and alleging that somehow Erica might even be in on this, which, by the way, that is a sign for I love you in sign language. I think this stuff needs to stop. And I have some additional questions for Candace that we're going to get to at the end of this video. And we're going to come back to this lie that she clearly told that for whatever reason, her audience just won't acknowledge. But before we get into that, let's let you hear Candace's latest theory and her receipts on this latest theory about what she thinks was actually happening and leading up to the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, but her latest theory is that Charlie Kirk's assassin was groomed by an underground communist cult that is centered around bees. Yes, like bees. Okay, let me let her tell it.
And I did just a cursory online search, and some messages I found, which were not written by a teacher at the school, but someone who was adjacent to some teachers at the school, gave me pause for concern. In fact, explicitly what it was a Polish underground symbol, like a Polish communist underground symbol that nobody would have recognized outside of people who know what it meant. And I just sort of went, okay, that's weird. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, like literally bees. In a way that the only way I can describe it to you is like they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded. And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers, or saying that they farm bees? What is this lingo that I'm not understanding? Why do I feel like it's related to students? I didn't feel good about it at all. And I just sensed that we needed to get more involved, to go to the school, to ask about the process of hiring, to see if they needed more security.
Question, do you think she wore that yellow outfit subconsciously because she was going to talk about bees? I don't know. But I do know that in light of all of this brain rot on the internet, you desperately need to pick up my brand new book, Godly Ambition, Unlocking the Full Potential of Your Time, Talent, and Treasure. You see, there's so many things clobbering for your attention to keep you distracted and to send you down a rabbit hole. But all of those things, the 7 hours that the average American spends consuming nonsense like this a day, is actually moving you away from walking in the full potential of what God has for you regarding your purpose, your assignment, and your calling. And so put the phone down and read a book. It's good for you. I actually wrote it, didn't get a ghostwriter. And you receipts is just text messages of herself that she sent to her friends asking about bees. But she wasn't able to provide the actual receipts that there was allegedly a shakedown of Charlie Kirk and them pressuring him at this Hamptons meeting, that everyone who was at the Hamptons meeting has now came out and said that that didn't happen. Where are those receipts? Where are those sources? Where are the people that told you about this shakedown regarding Charlie Kirk and his views on Israel shifting? Why haven't we seen those receipts? Where's the evidence? You notice that in this clip, how many times she talks about her feelings and her sense and how she needs to go investigate this stuff. This stuff is, listen, Candace Owens is if main character syndrome was a person. That is what we're seeing exhibited here.
I think it's a communist underground, and I don't know why, but it has something to do with bees. Totally sensible thing to say to your husband. Then came September 10th. Obviously, Charlie lost his life. And a few days later, I was told, and I sensed instantly that there was like a hive of people that were involved in this. I just knew it. And when it happened, I just went, oh my goodness. And my gut is telling me that this was the thing, that the dread that I sensed that was coming out of school. And I had no idea. I am not a flag person at all. And then someone told me, and I was astonished that Utah recently, extraordinarily, did modernize their B flag. I had no idea that the Utah state flag is a hexagonal beehive.
Her ability to put things together with regards to some random coincidences that have nothing to do with each other based on her prophetic senses it's impeccable.
Has always been the beehive state. So in 2024, they modernized their flag, but they've always been known as the beehive state. And to be clear, it's not because they make honey. It's not because they have a high presence of bees. In fact, in terms of making honey or bee-related products, they rank number 24. It's actually the beehive state. It relates to the Mormon Church, the Church of Latter-day Saints. Early Mormon pioneers founded that state, and they liked the idea of a beehive working toward a common good. Now, if that sounds vaguely familiar or communist to you, the idea of worker bees, yes, that's where it's from. So this sort of doom that I had about an underground happening, I was just like totally freaked out. It's a Soviet symbol, the idea of making everybody into a worker bee. So what's happening here? Well, I can tell you my suspicion. I think that this is a program. I don't know, but I know. I don't know, but I know. Because it is giving me the same ick that I had when I was looking through the period and learning the reality of what happened throughout the 1960s when MK Ultra, when that program was running. And I have no reason to believe that program was ever discontinued. And I believe that they find these candidates in schools. I really do.
So just to recap, Candace Owens is saying that there was a underground communist bee cult that is connected to the federal government, which also is connected to the state of Utah. And all this is also tied to the MK Ultra experiments that the CIA ran 50, 60 years ago. Now, notice there's no receipts. There's no evidence. The receipts she provides is just her own text messages sent to her friends asking their thoughts on these bees in which she is discovering. Claims aren't evidence. Arguments from silence aren't evidence. They're just thoughts. They're ideas. Now, again, before you send me an angry email again, before you leave me a nasty comment, I'm just asking questions and pointing out, why is Candace allowed to do this, but I'm not allowed to push back? Aren't we in favor of free speech? Don't I have the ability to also talk about the things that I don't see as lining up? Don't I also have the freedom to do these types of videos? Why is it only Candace that does it? So before you leave me an angry comment and say, Ruslan, your tone was mean to our sister in Christ, Candace Owens, send her that comment, please. Send her that email. Tone police her. But speaking of receipts, I provided receipts in my last video about the court case that Candace is lying about. And just for your reminder, here is Candace addressing the lawsuit from